Hello, my dears, my dolls. Welcome to today's reading. Today, I'm just going to talk to you how I would talk to one of my friends because this is a reading where I think there are some things that are being overlooked, and it's just because you're too close, if that makes sense. Too close to kind of see, and I'm going to help you zoom out a bit, okay? This reading is for someone who would have been in the recent past engaged with someone who is very hot and cold. This is a on again, off again kind of connection. Maybe even for some of you, this never was an official relationship, but I'm seeing there would have been, like displays of affection. There were kind of confessions of love type deal. Maybe even you did talk about what it would be like to be in a relationship with somebody, but I'm seeing there was just something there's a kind something underneath this where the entire connection, I feel like you would have been aware that just something was off. There was still something that you weren't getting, and you maybe couldn't put your finger on it, but this never came to be like an actualized relationship. Or if you were in a relationship with them, it just felt like something was off. Like maybe there was never a full connection, if that makes sense. What I'm seeing is that this person that you would have been in a connection with, they're represented by the Knight of Wands. So very, very in and out. Again, like I was saying, that hot and cold energy, maybe even like a player like kind of energy where they had the right things to say in the right moments. But what I'm really seeing emphasized with this person is that there was a lot of mental conflict in their inability to, I'm seeing like be fully present or fully commit. Um, and again, if you were like actually in a relationship with this person, it feels like there would have been like you would have had to catch them at the right time on the right day to be able to have a certain level of connection and intimacy. Even if this was just like having the more difficult conversations around your relationship, it feels like they just weren't always emotionally available, if they were emotionally available to you ever, if that makes sense. And that created a lot of confusion and a lot of you having to kind of sit and maybe like decode what was going on after the fact. This, I'm feeling like there's a lot of like unspoken, unsaid things, or things that maybe when you had conversations in the past, it was like you have to catch up. Like there's not a consistent open channel of communication with this person that really made it difficult to kind of figure out where you stand. Um, and what this is highlighting, because a lot of this is rooted in, I'm seeing the foundations being brought up. So like childhood wounding has been a thing. There's a lot of shadow work. This whole relationship is meant to, the ending of this relationship is meant to bring you to a place of looking at a shadow that has been with you for some time, that is affecting like your foundations. I'm literally seeing like the root chakra coming up a lot. But this is about how like you kind of establish all your relationships. I feel like you're the type of person that maybe if you grew up having to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for, anticipate the reactions and the emotions of the people around you, like it's that. I think you approach relationships with having to, and I even see this like in your work. This is affecting all areas of your life, but like I think you really notice it in like your work life, maybe, where you just have to anticipate other people's, and I'm specifically getting like other people's deficits where they will not be able to follow through so that you can do what you think that you can do to make up for that. And in your romantic relationships, this is attracting a certain kind of partner again and again. Okay, so now we're going to get a little bit into what is happening here with the mirroring, because again, if you're meeting the same kind of person, you're having the same kinds of struggles. This is meant to highlight a kind of subconscious belief. And I want to be very clear, because oftentimes when I hear people talk about mirroring, it's almost with this view that like something is deserved. And I don't really like the word deserved, especially when we're talking about lessons and karmic cycles, because we're all just trying to figure this out. It's not about deserving. But what's happening here with this subconscious pattern, because what I'm seeing is literally like there would have been key moments in the development of this relationship, maybe when you really had just met them, where there were certain like habits, is really what I'm getting, that were kind of cluing you into this person's ability or capacity to be there for you in certain ways, that were kind of just overlooked. I think you're the type of person that will really give people a lot of chances because you want to see the good. And this isn't always about like, someone being good or bad, but more so good or bad for us and like what they are able to um, reciprocate in relationships, right? What I'm really seeing in this subconscious belief that's kind of attracting a certain kind of partner to you is if you're the type of person that growing up you really had to be aware again of like what other people were thinking and feeling, and then you adjusted your way of being from that place. Or if you're just the type of person that just gives, but you really struggle with accepting help, you will attract the kind of person that fits that like puzzle piece. The puzzle piece is what I'm seeing. I also was getting a lot of visions of birds. I don't know if you have certain symbols or like images that are like messages for you, but birds was coming up a lot. Um, anyway, this is to say that if you were the type of person that can give, but you really struggle with accepting, energetically, you will attract someone who is used to taking and really struggles with giving. And again, it's not a deserve thing. This is not like it's kind of difficult to have these types of conversations when we talk about subconscious beliefs and how we're honestly sending out a kind of frequency with those subconscious beliefs that we're not always aware of. And the image that I'm getting to explain this is like if you've ever I'm seeing someone like use the inversion filter on their phone and being like, oh, that's what I look like to other people. It's like some of the things that you do and say but more so I'm getting on an energetic level because this is a belief, right? If you don't believe that you are deserving of a certain level of like care and attention and affection just because you are, just because you exist, just because you are who you are, you will attract someone who will fulfill that belief. Do you know what I mean? So this is again about being very aware of how the ways that we feel about ourselves, the ways that we were like, I'm just getting it's so much is coming in all at once. And it feels I think that's how it feels for you too. It's like there's these ideas that we grew up with based on our family and how we interacted with our family, and then we have societal expectations of what it looks like and what it should feel like to be in a relationship. And then I'm just like there's all these things that I feel like are going into creating this belief that we need to sit down, and this hanged man is really being highlighted right now. Like we need to sit down and actually get clear on what we believe to be true about ourselves and what kind of love we are ready for and willing to accept. And what does love look like for you? Is it service? Is it? I mean, what is it? We need to get to the root of that. Because again, I'm seeing this is really happening on a cycle, and you're getting to the point where you don't want to continue doing this. I'm seeing judgment and the universe connected to this moon energy with the Three of Wands. Like there's a want and a desire really truly to move beyond this type of connection where there's a lack of clarity, there's a lack of communication, where you are always anticipating their needs and getting little if anything in return. I feel like this is the type of thing where anytime you do anything, you are considering how it would affect your partner, or if they would want to participate, or if they do or don't like something. But when it comes to them doing anything, that's not what happens. Like if they come home and they got food and you're like, what kind of food I like, why didn't you bring me any food, or why didn't you even at least think to ask if I wanted some food, I am hungry, like, you know what I mean, that kind of a thing. Where if it was you would have just brought it home for them. Like that's the kind of energy. um and maybe ask yourself, be honest, like, are you the type of person that really struggles to accept help? Do you believe that you are deserving of that? Because what this is also showing me is like on the other side of the understanding of why we were so entangled, because I feel like being in this relationship itself felt like I'm seeing someone like step out of whatever their like natural environment is and like into a kind of like whirlpool. Like this relationship really either swept you up or kind of just, I don't know if it was like really fast or if it felt really intoxicating, even is kind of what I'm getting, to where like there was just a lack of awareness of kind of all the other things when you really got into just like the emotion of it. But there was something that was just very unclear and maybe even a little disorienting about this connection, where like being able to step outside of it, I think there was, I think if you looked at it, you would be able to see that like you were not fully yourself in that connection. I'm seeing like the solar plexus chakra is being brought up here. So maybe your confidence was obscured. I'm getting like maybe you had to shrink yourself literally to be in connection with this person, to feel like you could stand next to them, or they made you feel insecure about something that initially would have even attracted them to you anyway. There's something about this where it's like you had to kind of shrink yourself in one way or another, or maybe multiple ways, to be with this person, where like that also has to stop. If you are shrinking yourself to be close to people or keep them in your life, that is also something that needs to be looked at. Because what I'm seeing on the other end of this whole cycle is literally passion reignited, in terms of like your self-confidence, in terms of how you move in the world and what type of treatment and relationships you will be accepting of. Okay. Because this is just understanding that, you, I'm just, it's interesting because I think that the way that this person kind of presented themselves, again, smooth talker that maybe was just able to, and I don't even think intentionally, but like convinced you in one way or another that you weren't. It's so interesting the phrasing that's coming up, because this feels like the way that you would interpret it, where it's like a lack of. I'm just hearing someone that's be like, why am I not, like, you're kind of comparing your relationship to a lot of relationships that you see around you. Maybe you see people like getting all these things and you're like, why don't I ever have someone that wants to do that for me? There's nothing wrong with you is what I want to really emphasize. There's nothing wrong with you. This is about understanding the kinds of building blocks that create the way that we understand the people around us and interact with them, specifically like those really close personal relationships. Um, I feel like you might also attract people that feel almost entitled to your attention, time, care, those kinds of things. That's just a little aside. The oracle that I pulled for today's reading is Leo. It is number 5, and it says, "You are the king or queen of your own life. You have sovereignty over your actions and decisions. You can create a life where your needs are met. Learn to say no as a full sentence. You have power. It is real. You do not need permission from anyone else to live your life well. Begin to embody your dreams. Be fearless and go after what you want." All right. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope that this helped. You know the deal. I appreciate all the button clicking, and I hope to see you guys next time. All right. Bye.